All right, so a busy weekend as always in the Trump administration. We're going to start with essentially the continuation of Project 2025. Before we get into that, though, I want to just thank everyone who has recently subscribed this past weekend. One of my videos kind of popped off, 1.5 thousand views. I don't want to brag or anything, it's pretty crazy. Anyways, so then we're going to get into how the Trump administration also created their own version of wokeness. And we're going to also talk about just the overall tax cut and budget proposal that the Republicans are proposing. So look out for those videos as well. Anyways, don't need to bury the lead anymore here. Starting with, this is Project 2025. This is like the core principles, just gutting the federal workforce. At the end, we're going to talk to our favorite MAGA consultant, ChatGPT, and we're gonna just kind of learn more about some of the invisible government jobs that we just kind of take for granted and may not even realize they're there, but they're actually incredibly important for just keeping our society moving in a forward direction. All right, so from Axios, Trump administration fires thousands of federal workers as purge deepens. The Trump administration over the past 2 days has fired thousands of federal workers with jobs reportedly ranging from wildfire prevention to medical research. I want you to pay attention to what Republicans say and things they make up, because right now they're saying that like the Democrats have failed in California with the forest upkeep and not sweeping the fucking forest floors or whatever. And then they turn around and they cut wildfire prevention jobs. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure we already had like a shortage there to begin with. And then to medical research. Now their new favorite thing is saying that like Democrats don't believe in like medicine or healthy things. Like the projection is insane. Okay, sorry, I'm already burying the lead. Why it matters. A mass firing on this scale is unprecedented and will likely vastly reshape the way the federal government works, or doesn't, for many years to come. State of play. The White House has not released a tally yet of how many employees were fired and did not immediately respond to a request for comment from Axios. So yeah, these aren't, I guess, official numbers. We're going to be getting like a wide range of just different numbers that we that the media did their actually for once investigative journalism and kind of figured out. So agencies have been given until 8 p.m. on Tuesday to fire probationary workers, according to a source familiar with the process, though they can make case-by-case exceptions. There are around 200,000 probationary workers, those who have been at agencies for less than 1 or 2 years across the government. The firings come after around 75,000 workers accepted a deferred resignation offer engineered by Elon Musk, DOGE. So many of the firings are happening over emails, those being let go mostly probationary workers or term limited folks with set time frames, but some permanent civil servants who are also out. Employees inside the IRS, CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, objectively one of the best government agencies to ever exist. Super low budget, it was like less than $1 billion, has brought in, with that super low budget, has brought in like over 23 or so billion to defrauded Americans who were scammed or taken advantage of by financial institutions. So amazing agency. USDA told Axios on Friday either that they'd been fired or colleagues had received termination notices and that more were expected. The intrigue. All 18 career communication staffers at the Office of Personnel Management, effectively the government's HR department, were fired. An official at the American Federation of Government Employees told Axios, a source familiar with the decision also confirmed. Their positions were eliminated permanently, effectively wiping out the group's public relations team, similar to what Musk did at Twitter when he took over. OPM also fired dozens of its probationary employees Thursday afternoon on a group video call at around 2:30 p.m., the union official said. They were told that they had to leave the building by 3, per the union official. And it's crazy. Like, Republicans are celebrating this shit. Like, these are just like normal civil servants, lots of them new employees, just completed college or whatever, excited to kind of serve their country in a way and, serve the government and just in relatively apolitical positions. And just like that, their entire lives are uprooted and just sent into chaos. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions probably when it's all said and done. It's crazy. Like, we're celebrating the net loss of jobs. And we've already been over this. They aren't cutting or firing people, or they aren't cutting and finding waste, fraud, and abuse. They aren't. And in like 98%, I'll be generous, of the cases they've cited have been grossly, like, just misframed and just blatantly, like, lied about. And they're just, what they are cutting are just things that they don't agree with from a policy standpoint, from an ideological standpoint. So, yeah, it's insane. So, inside the Department of Energy, probationary employees received notices viewed by Axios that were being let go on Thursday. Per OPM instructions, DOE finds that your further employment would not be in public interest, says the notice. Wait, finds that your further employment would not be in the public interest? What the fuck? Says the notice is viewed by Axios. For this reason, you are being removed from your position with DOE and the Federal Civil Service effective today. That's fucking cold, man. Damn. The Veteran Affairs Department dismissed more than 1,000 employees on Thursday, the agency confirmed. Yeah. I thought you guys were like for veterans and shit. Like, I see the conservatives saying like, liberals care about all these trans people, but why don't they care about homeless veterans? It's like, we do. I care about all homeless people. Sorry. CNN also reported 3,400 dismissals at the U.S. Forest Service. Yep, there it is. How are we going to prevent wildfires and clean the forest and all these things that Republicans talk about and want to have them very nice and well kept? How are we going to do that if you're firing all the people responsible for that? In 2000 at the Energy Department, Stat reported 5,200 workers inside the Department of Health and Human Services are also to be targeted for firings. So yeah, I thought you guys cared about like health and shit. All right, if you cared about health, just give us free healthcare. Healthcare is a right. Insane. A spokesperson from OPM described the probationary period as a continuation of the job application process. In a statement to Axios, and said agencies were taking independent action in the light of recent hiring freeze and in support of the president's broader efforts to restructure and streamline the federal government. So where's the restructuring and streamlining part? They don't have a plan to make things more efficient or to restructure things in a reasonable way. They want to take an axe to it all and then leave all these agencies or whatever's left of them to deal with it. That's their version of reforming and bringing efficiency. Insane. So a source familiar said OPM's guidance to agencies was that probationary employees should be fired with only mission-critical exceptions. The administration has abused the probationary period to conduct a politically driven mass firing spree targeting employees not because of performance but because they were hired before Trump took office, said a statement from Everett Kelly, president of AFGE, a union that represents federal workers. So we're not going to read this one, but I have from just a couple things from NBC here, and this is how they cut disease detectors from the CDC. Like, these are the people who are constantly monitoring diseases and conducting research and tests to try to detect any epidemics before they even happen. It's almost like one of those invisible jobs we touched on and we're about to get into. Um, and they're taking an axe to that. Like, I've never seen a more anti-health administration in my life. Like, what are we doing? So, multiple outlets reported that a larger sister program at the CDC called the Epidemic Intelligence Service, or EIS, known as the agency's disease detectives, was expected to be cut significantly, as well as as of Sunday, though, the two officials who spoke to NBC News have not heard of firings at EIS. One, a senior CDC official, said everyone who was going to be terminated had been notified by Sunday. It's wishful thinking. I hope that's true. Uh, Even if EIS was spared, there are multiple other fellowships that were not, and that's a pipeline for the next generation of CDC leaders. Other departments that had cuts include the Presidential Management Fellows, which aims to develop future public health leaders, and the Public Health Associate Program, which assigns fellows to local health agencies, the two officials said. So it sounds like some relatively decent things we should probably have going on in the background. And I'm sure if you looked into the budgeting that these specific agencies take, it's in the millions. It's not in the billions. We've already established that, like, so USAID had a budget of 40 billion. We determined that's less than 1% of the budget. So you're cutting these departments that the background work they're doing is so important to our society and how it functions, and you're cutting them for millions. And I always go back to this. These people aren't making all these cuts and getting rid of all this waste because they want to funnel all those savings into, say, a universal healthcare program or some big initiative to switch to renewable energy, or just promote that and become a world leader in patents and technology for renewable energy. That's a pie in the sky dream from, just even putting that in the same breath as the current administration. But are they going to put it into some kind of fund where the government can almost subsidize so that all Americans who work full, are they going to take these savings and put them into some sort of fund for, I don't know, so the government can help subsidize a program where every American who works full time can take paid family leave, or some kind of fund that can help subsidize a living wage for anyone who works full time? Anything like that? No. It's, as we talked about in another video, and we're going to be talking about in more videos, is they just want to funnel it into another giant tax cut that is going to way, way disproportionately benefit the rich. That's essentially what it is. And I don't think it's even anything new or that much different than its first term. I think a lot of this is just extending those tax cuts. Do you remember those tax cuts benefiting you a ton? Do you remember at some point your wallet, your paycheck just getting exponentially bigger, or like for no reason? No, okay? Because it all went to the rich. Let's be real. So I always like to bring in ChatGPT as a consultant to the conversation if we can, because if you didn't know, ChatGPT is a language model. It's more broadly speaking, AI, and Sam Altman, or whatever the fuck that billionaire douchebag's name is the owner of it. These are all tech bros. These are a part of the new generation of Republicans. So this is no liberal owned, liberal biased app. So let's bring them in. I just have a simple prompt, and that is, can you give me a list of important and visible federal jobs that people may not realize exist or take for granted? Okay, I'm not gonna list every one of these, but you can always pause and just read over them yourself. But I'm just gonna kind of breeze over them. Just look at ones that stand out to me. Obviously, air traffic controllers. I mean, this job isn't as invisible as it used to be before the last, last tragic month we've had in that area. They've come to the forefront more and have gotten more appreciation for the incredibly difficult job that they do. So, but that's one of them, essentially. And this is a cool one. You have nuclear materials carriers, and that's a part of the Department of Energy that Trump has taken aim at. And they transport nuclear weapons and radioactive materials across the country. So, like, they have these unmarked convoys and shit that there could be a fucking warhead in. Insane stuff. And then uh, National Weather Service, like meteorologists and cybersecurity specialists, diplomatic security agents that protect embassies and such, and diplomats abroad. We have obviously the TSA, and then that's just public safety and national security. More to what could affect you day to day, like obviously disease detectives. We talked about that. They're cut. Veterinary medical officers that oversee food safety, animal health, and zoonotic disease prevention. There are agricultural scientists that continue to develop and research sustainable farming and food security methods. Forensic toxicologists that analyze drugs, poisons, biological substances for law enforcement. And that also includes the CDC. Now, and the FBI, which they've talked about gutting and just rebuilding or whatever the heck. The DEA, probably, I don't know if we've seen any cuts there. We might not. Civil engineers, wildland fighters, we've kind of talked about that. Hydrologists study and manage water resources, and nuclear reactor inspectors from like the Department of Energy and stuff. So there's just so much that happens in the background. Financial crime investigators, like there's it's crazy. Here's some interesting one. Like archivists and records managers, like that preserve and maintain our history and government records. There's just so much that happens in government, a functioning government, that people like may glance at or don't even think of. And they don't realize when we go over these articles of cutting these thousands of jobs, like these are the people that are being cut. And in the long term, it's going to be so hard to recover from this. And they hide behind it. What, bro? You're not against waste, fraud, and abuse? Well, yes, I am, but I don't trust the unelected world's richest man who is being investigated by like 8 of the government agencies that he's targeting, takes billions and billions of government contracts. I don't trust him to audit the system and make choices that I think are going to benefit the average person. They cut the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, objectively one of the best government agencies to ever exist. They cut the NLRB, or kneecapped it, handicapped it, whatever. Like, I just don't know how you can look at this stuff and think like, wow, this is going to benefit my life. Wake up, man. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And I'll see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.